Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 811 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, joined today by David Bray. And Ben Funky Askren is back. He's sleepy, Ben, because this guy's been on his grind. You know, he's coaching in Utah, delayed flight, then he's running his Celeb Pro-Am Race for the Cure, Funky Fresh Farms Disc Golf Spectacular yesterday. But he still makes the walk. He shows up today. Ben, how are you?
Oh, yeah. Everything's good. I had a busy week. I was in Utah for a couple days. I talked to you guys while I was in Utah, and then I came back. And my flight got late. It was brutal, Christian. It was, we didn't leave Utah till 11 p.m. Didn't land in Milwaukee till almost 3 a.m. And I had to, drive home, and then I was up the next morning at like 7:30 for the disc golf tournament. So not a lot of fun, but I had so much fun at the disc golf tournament. It was a blast. Did that air live? I don't know when they're putting it out. I guess I got to ask them. They're putting it out at some point. Not sure when. They will put it out though.
Okay. Well, we will be glued until then. Maybe you could share a clip from the show.
I put on social media. I put a few things. I got upstage first round because the first round I had this. I stepped up to the tee and I had this disc. It's called the Comet. It's kind of an old school disc, but I like it. It goes dead straight, And so a few of the pros, they made snide remarks about my choice of discs. And I said, listen, don't worry. I'm going to bank it off the Yeti, and it's going to go in the basket. And I banked it off the Yeti, and it hit the freaking rim of the basket, and it flopped out. Everyone's like, oh, and they went nuts. And then the next person to step up to the tee freaking aced it. So my moment of glory was just washed over by a greater moment.
Yes.
Probably because they didn't use a Comet.
Yeah, you gotta use a Comet.
I would give you guys the Comet because I'm sure you guys need something you can throw real straight, real easy. So I would give you guys the Comet to throw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great for us.
That's what I need.
That's what we need. Bray and I play Ultimate with the Frisbee golf discs. Yeah. I think it's more challenging.
No, you don't.
Gets your hands tough.
Please tell me you don't really.
Yeah, we do. Yep, it's way more fun that way. You haven't played like that?
You guys are joking.
Oh, Ben's not that tough.
You hit someone in the back of the eye. It was if I threw a freaking even a putter, which is not as hard or sharp as some of the other discs. If I threw a putter to hit you in the eye, you might be permanently blind. I wouldn't want to do that to you.
Dang, legally blind. POP, hold it down.
Man.
All right. Well, we're glad you're back. Sparks filled in magnificently, and as we all know, JD is gone to the Heartland for a wedding. Someone in the chat already said he must have been attacked by a cougar, which that is a looming threat for JD, but that's not the case.
It was pretty crazy to hear that Shane's late night snack is instead of a bowl of cereal, it's a cereal with milk. It's a bowl of goldfish, but hot sauce instead of the milk. He just eats it like a soup.
We were talking about, so every 4th of July they have the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
So I was like, what would be your the food you would be best at competitive? He goes, easy. Hold on a second. Then he walks off and he just leaves. He comes back with a little bag of goldfish and Frank's Red Hot. He's like, I put this on there and then I put the hot sauce on it. He's like, so good.
What's wrong with this man?
That's what he competitively eats. When he said goldfish, like boom, he's like he always has them.
I wanted to know how much hot sauce is it? Like a bowl of cereal just floating in hot sauce?
There's no way. There's no
so
way.
Disgusting.
Right? It's impossible. That's so gross. I'm thinking about eating those two things together right now. It's making me want to vomit.
I like goldfish.
I like red hot sauce too. I might try it.
We put them together.
Goldfish are kind of gross, Christian. I mean, my kids love them, and I'll snack on like a couple once in a while, but more than maybe 7 goldfish, and you're like, these things are gross.
I'm built different, dude. That's just the difference between you and me. I really like goldfish. I mean, I don't eat them. I probably eat them once every several months, or if they're in Snack Nation, I'll snag some. But
what is Snack Nation?
Snack Nation is. It's the land in Flow Sports where we just get a bunch of free snacks, and we'll have beef jerky, and it's really, since we moved to the new place, it's gotten way more teenage impulse snacks. It's bad. It's a lot harder to show strength. They used to have like all these fancy like peas, dried peas, and all this terrible stuff.
Seaweed, yeah,
terrible.
I remember you guys had seaweed, and I did not touch that.
Yeah, no one did. They're probably still sitting out there actually.
We'll save one for
All
you.
these years later. Anyway, Ben, well, while we're on the topic of not wrestling, what would be your food that you could most competitively eat? Do you think, hey, if I sat down with this, I could crush a lot of these?
Interesting. Probably tacos. I did tacos. You guys know I love tacos. Come to
Yeah.
Austin. I gotta stop myself from eating the tacos, guys. I could just keep eating those suckers.
Got it. Mine was sushi. Bray, what would yours be?
I could put down a whole cheese tray like that.
Oh, you just
Oh,
cheese?
I could
really?
put a cheese tray down fast.
You could place high just because I don't think there's a lot of people signing up for that, and I'm not signing up for the aftermath.
No one's signing up for that.
You get the Costco, the international cheese platter. It's like Belgian this, whatever that. Just boom, it's done.
You just
For
plow through
real?
it.
Oh, I could put it down.
I can't eat. I don't think I ever eat just cheese.
I
put cheese
That's
on
the
lots
thing
of things.
where, yeah, if you eat a couple pieces, then you're like, okay, that was good, and then I'm done. You don't eat the whole thing, Bray.
Or what I'll do is I'll
eat the whole thing.
I'll open up like a thin cut salami package and then like a cheese, just one of each. Boom.
I like that.
One
I
after
like
the
that
other.
with it. Throw a Ritz cracker
That's
in there.
better
We're in
than just
business.
cheese. Yeah, better than just cheese for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I could do the cheese on its own. Just get it going. No
Okay.
problem.
Tacos would be tough because it's kind of hard to eat them fast. There's a lot of like remnants with every bite.
Well, but here's the thing, Christian. We're competing with someone else, so it's hard for them to eat them fast. Also,
That's true. So if you mastered it,
Tacos would be a eating competition where I think you'd see a lot of disqualifications because you didn't
Why?
finish it. Because people wouldn't finish. I'm done with the taco. Yeah, right. Half of it fell
Now
out.
look at it. Look at all this cilantro, sir. How
Yeah.
do you explain this cilantro? Where did it come from?
I think you do the ones where they're like they have some of the food trucks in Austin where it's the smaller ones. So you fold it and then it's like two bites, like, and then you're done. That one right there. Just that.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, recruiting kicked off for the class of 2024. And wanted to kick it to Bray quickly for some recruiting updates, if there are any to be had.
Yeah, I mean we're reaching out to recruits right now. Had a good call with Joe Seeley and his dad last night. So he's the number one recruit in the class.
Dang.
He says he's got a top 5, maybe it's a top 8. He's not quite ready to disclose, but I mean, really interesting recruit to think about, both in terms of his wrestling style and also in terms of his his experience through his first 2 years of high school. He's been to 3 high schools in his first 2 years. Couple different schools in
2 years.
Yeah, he was at one school at the beginning of his freshman year, and then moved to High Point, North Carolina, and then was at Wyoming Sem last year. And then he may be at he doesn't know for sure where he's going to go to high school in the fall. So,
Wait, what? He's not going back to Wyoming Sem?
no, and there's some stuff with the family moving and things like that. So he doesn't know. Well, he may be going back to Wyoming Sem. He hasn't decided. He's got some options.
So, I knew he was from North Carolina, and I knew he went to Wyoming Sem. Did his family move with him to Wyoming Sem?
I don't know that for sure, but his family
Okay.
has since moved to Florida. So his dad's in Florida now. So they're trying to they're exploring the local options, think about other options too. But
LHP.
yeah, I mean you never know. It could be. It could be.
Okay.
But yeah. So I mean that's an interesting element when you're thinking about a recruit who's seen a bunch of different rooms already in high school. He's been to different parts of the country. So that gives him some experience, but super introverted guy. So he's not used to being on the phone a lot, but that first day, it sounds like 20, 25 programs on the phone. And he's keeping his options open at this point, but really, I don't know, he's going to be a big get. So not a super big update there, but good to know what he's up to. And also that guy's born on the 4th of July.
No way.
Yeah. He he's
Regular Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
What a real American.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good day to be born. Okay. Wisconsin high school, Wisconsin Fargo, looks like y'all are going to be really, really good. Fargo, how excited are you for that? Bray's been talking it up. We talked on the phone yesterday before the show. He thinks y'all got quite the squad going.
Well, I saw some other teams. I think Ohio and Illinois being released. They're usually 2 of the deepest teams. So I didn't peel through those rosters yet. But, yeah, Wisconsin, we have a lot of spots because especially, and it's a lot of our guys split, like, say, junior 152 through junior maybe 195, somewhere in there. we did a whole bunch of places at Northern Plains, and so you get those auto qualifier spots. So we could take 6, 7, 8 people. No Mulvaney won Central Regional. So yeah, just a whole bunch of like free qualifier spots because our guys are doing really well at the regionals, and then obviously also at the UWW Cadets, which makes an auto qualifier. So yeah, really good. I'm excited. We got a lot of depth in those weight classes.
I was looking back through. I mean, yeah, when I saw the roster, I was like, man, this is a very deep Wisconsin team. But then there's three of the bigger name guys are not going. The seniors coming back. Clayton Whiting's not going. Mesenbrick's not going. Coy Hopke's gonna be abroad, so he's not in. But even still, I mean, it looks like I don't know what's the best like a Wisconsin team has done at Fargo.
My senior year we did really well, and then there's been a couple other years. I guess they said so. We took second at Freestyle Cadets, and I asked if we ever won it, and they said we did. It was one of the first. I want to say it was like '07, which it had to be one of the first years of cadet duels because they did not have cadet duels existed when I was in high school. I wrestled junior duels, and I think it was one of the very, very first junior duels in like 2001 or 2000, somewhere around there. I think Max may have wrestled in cadet duels, which would be like 2004-ish, somewhere in there. So I think they have done well, but this is like for both teams to do well, not just like one small group of kids is really good. And then, our junior team, and I'm sure this is true with a lot of states, but our 95 and 220 weren't that good. I don't want to throw the Mirasolas under the bus, but someone in their family may have planned a vacation when they weren't able to go to junior duels.
Oh no.
Don't worry, we've given them a hard time about it. Clayton obviously was training at Mizzou. Coy Hopke made a world team. We could have really used a 95 and 220. Our guys kind of struggled there at junior duels. We didn't win a lot of matches. And then Zane actually did a pretty good job at 152, but obviously I don't think Mitchell would have lost any of the matches that Zane did. So I think that that kind of could have put us over the edge in one or two more duels.
So you guys were second at 16U, fourth in juniors, and some of the other rosters, look maybe a little bit down. Illinois' roster, I don't think is complete. The one that's posted. We've heard that there are some guys that are like the process of getting signed up was a little weird. So I think there are a couple guys. Ben Davino's not on the list. I think he's going. Nasir Bailey's not on the list. I think he's going. So that'll help them a lot. But I don't know. Looks like a good Wisconsin team, and I don't think. I mean, we got to talk about that 16U duel for a second because I mean, I know it was a long time ago. The final, the duel, the last.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there.
Wild.
It came down to heavyweight, and you guys are winning. You got to have it though because if it's a criteria win, Ohio's gonna. They're going to get it, and your guys got an 8-0 lead. What do you guys – I mean, what's the team thinking at this point?
I was feeling really confident, but I did have one of our other coaches say the Ohio kid was really good. And our kid was good. I think he was like Evan Grotz. I think he went, 5-3, 6-2. Like he had a solid weekend. And so then when he got up 8-0, I'm like, yes, like we got this. And then the Ohio kid freaking – brought the heat, and he just kind of made a couple bad decisions as the match went on and just couldn't stay in there. And, honestly, at heavyweight and you're up 8-0, force the guy to shoot, right, is what you want to do. Force him to shoot, and then give up a 2-point takedown. I think we gave up a couple fours. So, yeah, it was a great match. I mean, there were some other things that happened before then, like a 45-pounder was in he had lost a kid at Central Regional, and then that was, I think, a 7-6 match. So there's a few other ones that were like super like in the balance. So I know everyone wants to always think about the heavyweights when a duel comes down like this, but then it's like you bring it back and you forget about all these other moments along the way that were like, kind of. And in freestyle, it's interesting because it could be like someone scores a point, so it goes a 3-1 instead of a 3-0, or which I actually kind of like. I think the way that freestyle duels are scored is really cool on the one side where. It does matter. If you lose 11-1 versus 10-0, it freaking matters. Go score a point or do something. And then other side, if there's a forfeit or a pin, a 5-0 win is worth 2.5 decisions, which that's kind of hard. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, in folk style, it's worth 2.
So a pin versus a decision.
Right. So it's still pretty tremendous. Yeah. The main thing is just a little confused. You have to really know it. It's not super fan friendly Freestyle
Yeah,
duel
sure.
scoring is like, okay, hold on. But yeah, it is kind of cool though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
everyone can contribute to the team even if they're not, winning.
some of my favorite duels were the what was that? What was like the RTC Cup that we did last year,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
where Olympic weights. So it's 6 matches, and it's like almost the duel is still almost always in the balance, like coming into the last match. Like it's very rare that one team has already won 4 matches in the duel, and so those matches were those duels were incredible. They were they're short enough that it was easy to follow along with the team scoring. When it's 16U or juniors, it's like 15 weights or whatever it is, and it's like it gets a little unruly. But those six man duels, six match duels, those were incredible. I love those.
Yeah. The duel we beat Pennsylvania in was crazy too. It was our 195 hunter had a crazy I think it came down to that one, or maybe it was either ending there or ending at the next weight, because they rotated him, and he had like a quick tech fall, but it was crazy like sequence of events, and that was a fun duel. I'm sure they didn't have all their best guys, but they did have quite a few really good guys in the lineup for them.
Okay. Well, fun duels talk, fun Wisconsin talk. Wanted to talk about this. I've had this in the dock the last couple of days, but we're on the 25th anniversary of the infamous Tyson biting Evander Holyfield's ear. Do you remember this, Ben?
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I watched it live or if I remember it the next day, because I would have only been 12 years old.
Yeah.
I think I was watching it live, but I don't want to have like a false memory syndrome over it.
Yeah, so if you don't, for you kids listening, Mike Tyson was a boxer, and as was Evander Holyfield, and this man, I guess it was for probably the heavyweight title. But the funniest part about this, oh look at Ben getting his special delivery, got his coffee.
Got my coffee.
The crazy thing about this that I had to be reminded of is that Mike Tyson bit his ear, bit a chunk of it, spat it on the mat. They evaluate the situation. They say,
Let's go.
okay, 2-point deduction. Let's run it back. So and then he does it again.
Yeah.
And only then does the match end. And so there's go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I thought the first one he bit him but didn't bite it off, and then the second one he actually got the chunk. It was my opposite.
I don't remember which time he got that lean protein.
No, so here's the way I remember it. I remember him biting and Vander Holyfield going and then they kind of looked at him. They did the deduction, and the second time is when he actually like bit the ear chunk off, and they're like, "Nah, we're done here." But it could have been opposite. It was a long time ago, and I'm not a huge boxing fan historian, so you could definitely be right on that. But I thought it was opposite.
The other thing I remember about that was, so I was 12. It was like perfect age to be really into something like that. And
We're the same age, Bray, me and you?
Yeah. I think
What's
so.
your birthday?
September 8,
Ooh,
1984.
I'm older than you. I got July 18th. Hey, everyone, my birthday's coming up. You guys want to send me some presents? You can send me some presents.
Okay.
I love tacos.
Mail him some tacos.
You guys, for my birthday, here's what I expect for my birthday. Flow Sports.
Envelope full
Flow
of tacos.
Sports is going to put a taco truck right outside my garage. So when I finish the show, I can feel like you guys for once. I'm going to go upstairs. I'm just going to start mowing some tacos.
Okay.
But so at 12 years old, watching that fight, it's like it was built up. It's so easy to build up the hero villain thing, like easy good guy, easy bad guy. So then when Tyson does this, it's just like, I knew he was a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like that's how it felt, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Mike
Tyson obviously has always had trouble controlling his temper. He does seem like generally a really good person when you watch him and you listen to him. He's very contemplative. But, and listen, that dude probably deserved it. But it was great because social media was actually on Mike Tyson's side when he blasted that dude like last month.
Onto the airplane.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for like that dude deserved to get punched. But with litigation in 2022, you think
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
holy, this dude's gonna get sued for millions of dollars.
Mike Tyson already he's already blown through $100 million. You would think he would
More than
get
that, I
lit-
think.
well, yeah, but he had $100 million and then he had $0. Those two things happened in that order. So
Yes, they did.
that was a devastating moment for Mike Tyson.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so crazy. So my question is, what is the closest thing that has happened to this in wrestling? What is the most outrageous, unthinkable, incredible, whatever, just like a jaw-dropping moment in the sport of wrestling that's remotely comparable to this? Is there one? Probably nothing.
I was thinking about Tuesday. I can't think of anything.
I mean,
The Mongolians taking their clothes off.
that was one that came to mind for me.
That was probably mine. Then again, Sushil Kumar literally did this
Yeah.
in order to get a gut wrench. He bit a man's ear.
And then didn't he also
Really?
Is he
I don't
also
remember
the
that
one
one.
who was on the run for murder?
He has also been on the run. This is all alleged. You can't sue me or bite me, Mr. Kumar. But yeah, he definitely got in some serious trouble in India. But yeah, he bit a man's ear at the Olympics in 2012, I think. Might have been 8.
Jeez Louise.
Man, the first thing that came to mind for me on this was Metcalf Caldwell.
That's the other one. That was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, because the backdrop of this is happening, he's losing this match that we have fought. Now the man does a backflip and gets shoved mid backflip.
Yeah.
That has to be it. That's the crazy, because that's the combination of like the crazy personality conflict. Because no one knows these Mongolian guys. No one knows who they are. No one really even knows
pretty tremendous,
Kumar.
though.
Sorry, it was tremendous. And if I had been there in person, maybe I would think differently if I was at the Olympics. But I was being there, watching that unfold live is such an insane memory.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no ears were bit. That's why they wear that headgear.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cliff Keen.
The
Is
first
that what? Wait,
Yeah, that's why.
hold on. Did Christian Biles just state that their whole reason by headgear so we don't get bit in the ear? Because I didn't know this. I learned something today on the show.
Yeah, that's what you should tell all the kids. Yeah, we wear these because in wrestling, a lot of people want to bite the ears very specifically. So,
I don't think
Tyson
I've ever
influence.
bitten someone's ear.
Man, I had a kid. Did
I
you
don't
ever
think
coach
so.
a kid? You ever coach a kid that bit?
No.
Ben? I bet you have. You've had a kid that bit.
Probably,
once.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I did. It was embarrassing. We as obviously, but the kid was winning the match. He was up like 8-4, but he was wrestling terrible. And then he got taken down. He was still up. He bites hard on this kid's arm and gets disqualified and suspended. He would go on to win the state championship that year.
That's right.
But
What?
yeah, like he was good, but he definitely bit that kid's arm. He just lost his freaking mind. It was really weird. And then like a year later, I guess the bad boys of the Shenandoah Valley. A year later, at like the same place, a guy punched this kid in the middle of a match. Like he got elbowed hard, and then he starts boom, 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 and then they start fighting each other. This kid would go on to win the state championship that year.
Oh my God!
All these things
who you
happen
got
in
on
your
your
part-
team?
We're the bad boys. We're like the
my
80s
God.
Pistons, just checking people on the boards.
Wow.
How come some things that people do that are over the line are cool and some things are not? Like, you know,
Like
you
what?
you take them off the mat and run them into with the boards. You're like, oh, that's pretty. All right, I mean, you shouldn't do that, but that's kind of
No,
cool.
I think that's bullcrap too. But yes, some people do give it a pass.
I mean, it is, but it looks like
more
visually, it's
acceptable.
whatever. Somebody takes a bite, you're like, what's wrong with this
Oh my
weirdo?
gosh, this
Like,
deranged individual.
yeah, I don't know.
Because you're also putting piece of someone's flesh in your mouth.
Yeah, that's
Which,
true.
like that's it. That's an issue.
That
Much
is what
more
biting
normal.
is, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's
I mean, if we
it's
think
a lot
about
clearer for me
fighting-
now.
If you're thinking about fighting, like who bites? Like 2-year-olds bite. Like 2 and 3-year-olds, because I don't know, they in their little brain they think it's a good idea and they bite. But once you get past the age of like 4, like, well, Ozzy still bites. So we'll say age 5. Age 5, Ozzy will still like because they'll come and chomp your leg like. "Argh."
Dang.
Yeah, age 5, no bites anymore because it's it's kind of gross.
One of our FRL questions asked for an update on Ozzy Man Strong Boy and Caleb, but that he really just wants one on Ozzy Man Strong Boy.
He's doing great. All he wants to do is battle and play with Transformers, and that's it. Every
Dang.
single day.
I want to see an Ellis and Ozzy showdown.
Oh, dude.
He's got a fired up 4-year-old too.
Yeah, he's
High energy.
dude. He likes to. Right now, he likes to punch. He likes Ninja Turtles, so he's really into. He tries this move where he'll grab my wrist and then try to do like a flying kick. Like he'll like swing in the air and try
Genius move.
Like that's his move right now. And then punch me in the stomach. So, but I punch him in the stomach too, so it's no problem.
Well, the one that Ozzy does sometimes is listen, I love most battling, but I'm trying to break him of this habit. Is he'll just walk up and I'll be like playing. I'll be laying on the ground playing my like he'll just stomp me right in the face, and I'm like, dude, that's not even legal in fighting. Like you can't do that.
He's like, in 1FC you can. No, you're a champion
you can't
there.
do it. No, not anymore. Not anymore.
He's old school.
You can kick. You can't stomp.
Wait, you used to be able to face stomp in 1FC?
Yes, and you can't. It was like during my time.
Basically, prison rules.
Yeah, for a while you could during my time, and then at the end you could kick, not stomp, because stomp pretty much only happens when they're already knocked out, so it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But kicking can be a functional maneuver, and then kneeing on the ground is the one that should be allowed in all fighting because it makes so much sense.
Kennedy and Rogan were talking about this too.
Oh, kneeing on the ground makes so much sense for if we're gonna fight. I mean, this sounds kind of barbaric, right? But if we're gonna fight, and when we think about functional fighting, kneeing on the ground is highly functional. It actually kind of hurts wrestlers because a defensive wrestling position, a sprawl, for example. Usually in a sprawl, you don't really get hit, the sprawling person doesn't hit the shooting person that much because they're stuck, and they have to use their hands to block the sprawl. But when the guy is sprawled on top of the person, then, in 1FC, you just freaking knee him in the head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying or no?
Yeah.
I do know what you're saying.
And then also in ground fighting, like when you're in side control, you can throw knees from there, and it's really effective.
Yeah, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do that. I agree. Honestly, why can't you bite?
You got a mouth guard in, so it wouldn't be that hard anyways.
Oh, yeah. Those are optional. Mouth guard optional.
Yeah.
As long as everyone agrees to it, I don't see any problem with it.
I agree.
All right, so Ben was the Prison Rules champion of the world for several years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Ozzy's got to break the habit of stomping on the face, though. It's like because he did it. Well, you know why he did it, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh, what's the kid doing? He's gonna take that kid to jail." I was at Vegas. We took him to the tournament one day, and there's a bunch of people. We were kind of around talking, and I was just sitting there. He freaking face stomped me, and everyone's like, "What is wrong with that kid?"
But he only does it to you, right? He knows that you're the only one.
Yeah, only me. He only face stomps me.
That's actually pretty good if at his age he can actually discern. Because I think most kids, you can only do this with daddy. Be like, yeah, but they get to preschool and they're stomping little Louie out.
Dude, that's
my
bad.
knowledge, he's never stomped anyone at school.
You sent me the video of was it you and I guess Ozzy's cousin from the
Luca.
Those two.
Luke, yeah,
They're the
Luca's
Bash brothers.
That's Mexican dude. There's this video. Oh my god, I should forget to send to you guys.
You sent it to me.
Freaking funny. So he's Ozzy used to do this movie and do it where he jumps on you with both knees. So Luca at age 2, they sent it to Max. He just walks up and his kid's laying on the ground. And he double jumps and knees on the kid.
The kid's just laying there motionless.
Just some unsuspecting kid?
Totally. Has no idea. He's just some space cadet kind of kid just laying there.
How old? How old's the kid?
2 or 3.
Oh my gosh.
It was so funny. It's a hilarious
so
video.
Funny.
You will die laughing if you see it.
Oh yeah, that was so funny.
It was so good. Yeah, they're gonna be a tag team duo, those two.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was hilarious.
Mike Tyson's of 4-year-olds.
Mike Tyson. No question.
Yeah,
Okay.
has there ever? This is a good question for another wrestling Tyson question. Has there ever been someone who was really kind of like a villain or a bad guy, and then turn it into someone who's really beloved. Because I feel like Tyson was a villain, and now I think everyone kind of loves him. Like, there's not a lot of people who don't like Mike Tyson right now.
He's so like vulnerable and like kind
Yeah,
of open
lovable.
about just like what a disaster he was and
Yeah.
all his just sort of how all of it came to be. And I think he does have genuine shame over like his past behavior. So I think that helps him a lot. Michael Chieson says Mako. I don't know about Mako.
Oh, that sounds good. Mako's a lovable dude right now, dude. Yeah, I see him. His kid wrestled 16U. Like, Mako was so scary back in college. Everyone was scared of that dude. And I think kind of a lot of people didn't get to know him, right? There wasn't social media or that type of stuff. But once you get to know him, the dude's just like, he's an amazing dude.
That's what literally Sparks said that yesterday too. Like, that's one of the scariest. He's like, you watch this season. Mako's not a guy you want to get to know. But met him at the 2015 World Championships. Nicest guy in the world. And he is a really nice guy. That is true.
Dude, we had this freshman heavyweight at Mizzou, true freshman, and I don't remember what happened to him, but he had to start because we didn't have anyone else. And we went to
You wouldn't bump
Stillwater.
up, as we famously remember.
I did not bump up the heavyweight. That would have been not went well for me at all against Steve Mako because he's a very large man. But they played the what was it? Damn, it's a Star Wars song when Steve Mako walks out.
Oh yeah, the Imperial March.
Yes, and it's in Stillwater, and this dude wouldn't freaking stop talking about how scared he was when Steve Mako came out to that song in Stillwater, and it was like the most hilarious thing ever. Except
and he wrestled him.
I wish. Yeah,
he's literally talking,
of course, in like a minute. And afterwards, he was like, "That was the scariest thing ever." And I'm like, "Oh God." Freaking yeah, he didn't turn out to be very good.
That is an all-time walkout song too.
Yeah.
Sam Stoll used to come out to it, and it was freaking.
That's good.
It was really sick.
We had a heavyweight at Northwestern College in Iowa who drew Steve Mako first round at the UNO Open one year.
Oh no!
And he was like,
oh, that's funny.
He was sweating, man. He was nervous. It did not go well. But it was quick. It was immersive. It was a mercy kill.
Yeah, in those situations, you just don't want to anger
mercy kill.
Yeah, he took him out very fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
It's the underdogs that want to come out and like throw a really hard club that end up really playing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like oh no, because now he doesn't have to pin you. You know, he has a lot of options.
That's too funny. Yeah, I think Steve Mako's I think I could say it's Steve Mako, because yeah, he was very disliked and kind of almost disliked by a lot of people, right? Because he went to Iowa and then Oklahoma State, and a lot of people were upset about that. Yeah, and now everyone loves him now.
What about Gilman?
Ooh, I don't know if he's loved yet.
Maybe not completely, but he's
maybe.
I think his persona has shifted quite a bit. You know, he was he was the guy slamming Alan Waters. He was just pretty. He was pretty feared, and then now he's also very open about everything. And
here's what I'll say about Thomas Gilman. Thomas Gilman, I enjoy you. Don't freaking mean tweet me right now. I like you, but Thomas freaking Gilman, I don't remember what I said. I said something. It wasn't critical of Penn State. It was like moderately. It was somewhere in the middle, and he came out so hard defending them. And I'm like, this dude will defend whoever he's with so freaking hard. Because I remember, obviously, when I would criticize Iowa, he would come so hard against me. And it was hilarious to me because it's like...
I have no recollection of this.
Which one?
The Penn State encounter, for sure.
Oh, this was only a couple months ago. This was really recent.
What did you
say? What the hell was it about? It was probably NCAAs or something. I don't even recall. It was, like I said, it wasn't really critical. It was like... somewhere in the middle. It was somewhere in the middle. But yeah, he came at me, and I was like, I first of all, I wasn't really criticizing. I was kind of like just talking about it, and second of all, I was just laughing because it was he defends who he's with so hard. Which I guess what that's probably something to appreciate about someone, right?
For sure. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see if I can find that tweet. Cover for me for a second from these.
So Thomas Gilman, he replied to my tweet. Can't remember what the heck it was about anymore.
Yeah, he's a guy that seemed like back in college, kind of one dimensional, just bad guy, and then it's like I think now that you've seen him in longer interviews and you just hear how thoughtful he is. I don't know. He's a reader. He's got a pretty like broad historical knowledge and stuff, and it's just like, all right, this guy's got a little more to him. So maybe that's just I know more about him now. But
yeah. So it was about, you were probably critical of the Penn State top wrestling, and it was boring you. And then he tweeted,
oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Aaron Brooks, takedown and tough ride. You don't like it, Ben Askren? Tune into something else.
Yes, that was what it was. And it's like Thomas Gilman. If you were in a Hawkeye singlet or in a graduate program at Iowa right now, you would say literally the same thing. Because listen, Aaron Brooks is an outstanding wrestler, but some of that top riding, it was really boring.
Yes. Well,
no
I would encourage you to tune into something else then, Ben.
Yeah, unfortunately, I really like watching wrestling. So I do a little bit tune out. I mean, when that type of stuff's happening, I'll like go get a snack, or I'll do something else for a little bit, because I don't want to watch that. Yeah, Thomas Gilman's a good one. I mean, the other thing that's kind of is like with more access to, and this goes into Christian. We were texting the other day about you were, I don't want to say complaining is the right word, but you were saying like social media, you don't like it sometimes. But what I think is that with social media, you get a really good insight into how human beings work, not only on the individual, but on the collective, and you get to kind of see who they really are. And both with that, and then I guess the other thing I'd probably couple this was, it was excessive coverage, or not excessive, more coverage of wrestling, is that I think, say, Steve Mako era, my era, like, people didn't really get to know us, right? Because there wasn't a lot of video of us. It was like these little clips, or there wasn't social media, so we weren't talking a lot. And so you can almost create in your head what this person is like, right? You can create who they are. You can make them exactly who you want in your own brain, because you haven't seen this person. But then the more you see of someone, the less latitude you have in making a judgment on their character and their personality. Does that make sense or no?
The less
latitude, the less. So if I don't know you, if I see nothing, right? So if we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
I might see a match or two of you. I might see a 1-minute interview with IPTV or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. But that's it. I'm not going to see anything else from you. And so if I see one thing I don't like, I can say, oh, that freaking Christian Piles, he's such a freaking butt face, right?
Right.
But now say with Thomas Gilman. So if all I had seen was the Alan Waters moment, right? And I could say, this guy freaking, that was way uncalled for. He's such a terrible person, blah, 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 blah. But now I see a long form interview with Thomas Gilman, or I hear him talking on social media. I'm like, that was obviously was not probably a shining moment for him, but he's probably a really good guy, like just when you just listen to him. And so I think the more access to people we have, and the more, especially in long form content, the less latitude people have to judge other people, because they see them, they're human, right? And they can't judge them as much.
No, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, so next.
So Mako, I think Mako's our best villain, though.
Yeah. Because he's the full 180, and I think everyone's mine.
Yeah.
And I think, Iowa, I think, still likes Steve a lot. I think that, Terry coached him for a while towards the end of his senior level career, which is not over. The shoes are not taken off.
Man, what a moment.
That was an all-time moment. Okay. So I had a question. I had a thought about the team race, because we were talking about it yesterday, and we've talked about it basically since NCAA's ended, the level of favorite that Penn State is going this year. When was the last year we had a favorite kind of this runaway going into the year, right? Now, one of the options could be the, Penn State's going to be a likely answer. The most recent one was the one we went back and forth about the entire year, Ben, was Iowa and Penn State.
I was just gonna say, that was well. I didn't think when you brought this up a while ago, right before the show, and I didn't think about Iowa, but Iowa, 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they wound up winning, and
Yes.
I was kind of always saying, don't count out Penn State, don't count out Penn State, and then ultimately, Iowa won. They had it wrapped up by Friday night, I'm pretty sure. So that was one, but I feel like this could be one of the seasons where they're as big a favorite as we've seen going into the year, because you think about the 16 season, that was like the freshman year for Bo and Nolf, and it was Zane's return. So going into that year, obviously a lot of us were high on them, but you didn't expect Nolf to pin Imar, and you didn't expect Nickel to just run through the scuffle and be number one, basically wire to wire.
But I think the other thing of that year was Iowa, Ohio State, and Missouri all had really good teams in 15, and they all graduated a lot moving into 16, correct?
Yes, correct.
So that obviously affected the team race significantly.
Yes, it did. Because going into thinking last 10-ish years, 2011, it was very much up in the air who was going to win that year.
Yep.
Cornell got second, but Iowa had a team that could win. 2012 might have been a year they were a pretty big favorite because they returned a large chunk of their team. They ended up winning by a pretty large margin. 13 was crazy close. So was 14. They both came down to the finals. 15, Ohio State was far from a favorite heading into the year. It was very much up in the air who was going to win that year. That was the year of NATO's freshman year and Snyder and Bo Jordan. In 16, we talked about 17 when they won 5. I'm trying to think of what the perception going into that year was.
I don't remember.
Well, certainly there was no thought that Vincenzo Joseph was going to beat Isaiah Martinez, but Zane, Nolf,
winning. We knew Nolf and Nickel were going to be really good too.
Yes, because they had already been really good. But then, Bo went up and beat Gabe Dean. That was crazy. So it could have been that year, 17. I feel like they were a pretty big favorite going in. They ended up winning by pretty wide margin.
By big, right? They won big.
17, they were big favorites, but I still remember the night of NCAAs, even the very last moments of the season, just still being shocked at how good they were, how they put it all together. It was just mind blowing. It was what? They just did that. They just ran the table in the finals.
5 in a row.
What the heck?
That was nuts. They're going to return 4 champs this year. Plus, they're adding, a lot of high-level recruits. Now, how well they're going to wrestle remains to be seen, but the track record of development there is such that it feels like it's going to be a pretty freaking good squad. So, yeah, fun to think about. I think for this year, it's not just how much of a favorite they are. It's it's the contenders. Who's got a real team that can actually go up and challenge them. Certainly in dual meets, it can get interesting because it's just for the reasons that, duels aren't the best determinant of team strength is the same reason. No, it's not. It's not alleged. It's just it's actual facts.
No, this is dumb.
It is a fact.
In your opinion.
The whole
your opinion.
No, it's not. It's not. My opinion.
No, it's in your opinion.
It's true. It's true.
No, it's not. It's true in your opinion.
Well, no, I think it's just an accepted fact at this point that it's the best judge of team strength. The best way to judge a team's overall strength is the team's overall strength against the entirety of the field.
No. If there was let me bring back my simple argument is true.
I agree. It's simple.
You could literally show up with 4 people. 4 people on your whole team. You don't need a roster. You only need 4 people. You show up with 4 people. You could win the NCAAs. Christian, that's 4 good dudes. That ain't a team. That's not a team.
That's not even an anecdotal example. It's never even happened.
Well,
one time Arizona State had 2 champs and Levi Cooper placed, and they got a trophy or place tie. That is not.
But it could happen, but then by definition, that team literally could not win a duel. They couldn't because they only have 4 people because they have 6 forfeits.
Yeah, but
I think
it doesn't happen.
It seems like it's very often the best way to determine the number 1 team, but then like all the spots after number 1 is where I think it's not necessarily is the 20th team. I think often there's a 20th to 30th team that's 14-2 dual meet record, but they're they only have maybe 1 All-American, and then there's a top 10 team that maybe has 2-3 All-Americans, but overall team is not as good. So I think if you're looking for, all right, what's the best way to determine the number 1 team, the tournament probably gets you there most of the time. But from
there you go.
From there on, a lot of the rest of it, is it the best way to compare? Just pick 2 teams and compare them? I don't think so.
Yeah, he's right. I mean, it's the best. It's obviously the best way to determine who the best.
In your
team
opinion,
is. I think it's indisputable. I honestly think it could just be like mathematically proven that I'm right, but
how?
Because you are taking just because of the all right, if you're trying to determine team strength against the nation, okay? Yeah. Okay, we have the country of wrestlers, and we're trying to determine which team in the country has the best team. You want to compare it to the country, not a wrestler. Okay? Because Penn State's 125 versus one team's 125 is not the same as the entire field, which you could basically say, for all intents and purposes, the 33-man bracket is the field. That is the best,
fair. Yeah.
judge. Okay, so how they compete against the entirety of the field is a better measurement of how they truly compare than just a one match versus one match, okay, versus the team. So you do that 10 times, and you have a much greater, more accurate sample size of team strength because you're getting compared to so many different wrestlers as opposed to just being compared to one.
So, I mean, I guess you'd have to start off with define team strength is what you'd have to start with. And to me, a couple of good individuals scoring a whole bunch of points does not make a team. To me, makes like good guys all across the board. And if your guys at the NCAA tournament if they're say 7 through 16, they are a very high level wrestler. They're likely scoring very minimal points. A 12th place guy, guy who ends in around 12 the blood round, is probably scoring 10% of what a champion is scoring, right? Maybe less. And so that's where I don't. I think I can structure the scoring system in which a way I felt more comfortable. I know they're not going to let me do that. I get it, but and listen, I will say whoever wins the NCAAs is the team champion. That's for sure. But I'm not going to act like I think that is the absolute, ultimate best scoring system. It's not.
Well, I'll say it is the best one that currently exists. We both have shared agreements about like the discrepancies and like how really good wrestlers are scored in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But that being said, it's still the best way we have right now to determine the best team.
Yeah, so I think what would happen, if they actually had an NCAA team dual champion, Christian, is that so Kale is smart, right? This guy's super smart. I don't think there's any way you can dispute that. And I think he knows what the NCAA scoring system is. And he knows when the NCAA title is determined. And so he is relative. If he can't score points, if he's like, oh, how much effort is it going to take for me to get this guy from, a 20th ranked guy to a 9th ranked guy? It's going to take a lot of effort, right? Versus how much effort it's going to take me to get this guy from 4th to 1st. And so I just kind of with the things I've heard anecdotally, because I'm not in Penn State's room, although I'm probably going to try to put a spy in there at some point. They really have a high amount of focus on just a few guys. And that's why we say this sometimes. There's some weights where like they freaking stink. Like how it's Penn freaking State. How are they this bad at this weight class? I think because Kale knows like it's going to take so much effort. And then that dude's still going to score like 2 points, right? Point and a half a point, not much. And so if you said, okay, hey, Kale, we're actually going to give an NCAA team championship trophy, by dual meets, he would spend a little more effort on those weaker weights because he would realize they're really relevant to the actual thing, you know? So I think it's that thing where sometimes you think of like, well, Penn State's so much better, but then they don't always win duels. They win them a lot of them, right? But they don't always win duels. And I think it's because of he knows what the end structure is.
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible.
So it's because of our own bias, right? Because of what the current team structure is that we think that way.
Well, I don't know what bias, but yeah, we can move on.
Bias meaning you have long accepted that the NCAA team tournament champion is the official team tournament, meaning they are the strongest team, which then biases your own thinking into what determines the strongest team.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say I disagree with that, but
I would say that's fact.
Well, here we are. Oh my. Okay. I kind of love your espionage tactic of just saying on the number one show in wrestling that you're gonna plant a spy somewhere. That's just how the Russians did it.
Yes. Maybe they won't be able to stop me. You never know.
Yeah, perhaps not. It won't be super obvious when Askren Wrestling Academy guy ends up on the team, and then see, yeah, you're going to be you better not share any of the spy secrets if you get them. You're going to have to hold on to them.
You'll be like, why is this guy?
I don't want to share them. Kale doesn't share them. I always keep them for myself, and maybe like help make my guys a little better.
Oh, well, then you're no different or any different than Kale in this scenario.
Yeah, but so I got this problem. So listen, that's my idea, right? Then I got this problem. I got him on the show, and then I just start talking, and then sometimes I can't stop talking, and then so like other people will probably hear some of my ideas also.
Yeah, that's true.
I was thinking, I'm not out anyone at Kids Nationals though. I was thinking there's so many people walking around who probably don't like me because I like the Iowa guys. This is true of you also. The Iowa guys think you don't like Iowa. The Oklahoma State guys think you don't like Oklahoma. Yeah. The Penn State guys think you don't like Penn State. And so like at some point I probably said something negative about the team they've liked, or I've probably said something that's controversial to their thought process. Well, so some dudes just don't like me because they don't like me, right?
Right.
So there's this one match I'm watching. Well, first of all, the morning session was 12U, 10U, and 8U, and we had two kids in the 12U. So I showed up, but majority of the kids were 14U because, I don't like competing at those super young age groups. Well, first of all, the match on the mat is 8U, and these kids, they are so cute. They're almost like the size of Ozzy, but I don't know why they're wrestling in a national championship. I have no idea, right? And so the match goes to the break. It's 10-4, okay?
Here we go. We got a match.
And we got a match, 10-4. And they come back on the mat. No controversy. It was very obvious calls, right? Come back on the mat. There's the refs they were sleeping on the job. The one guy, the blue guy, gets a push out. And they confirm it, 1-1, but they didn't stop it. And then the red guy throws the blue guy. So they go 4. And then I think they put one, this was 11-8, right? They put it on the board, and then I think they realized that, oh, wait, we should have stopped it on the push out, and we didn't stop it, And so the refs kind of conference. Well, these guys in the corner are losing their mind. They're saying the score is 7-0. The score is 7-0. And I'm like, well, they got distracted. Let me help them, because I'm like the next match. I said, hey guys, the 10-4 is the right score, and they're like, stay out of this. Stay out of this. I'm like, guys, I'm not trying to butt in, but it was 10-4 at the break. And they're like, Askren, you stay out of this. We don't like you, blah, blah. And they're like cussing me out.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to help here. I don't want them to flip out at the referees because it's obvious, there's not really a controversy here. We know the score should be 11-4. And then so later I saw the guy standing. I'm like, hey, did you go watch that tape? You ready to apologize to me yet? And then he apologized to me later.
That definitely helped.
But in the moment, they were like, I freaking hate Ben Askren. He's such an asshole. And that happened one other time to someone else in New Jersey. I probably crapped on Rutgers. They were yelling at some nice volunteer at the award stand. I said, hey, dude, like this is a volunteer. Can you just please chill out? And then they started cussing me out. But it's because
why were they yelling at a volunteer?
Because I guess their kid didn't get on the podium, which is probably like the tournament director issue. Not this nice. It was like a 15-year-old girl at the awards stand handing out awards. What her freaking problem? She wasn't the director of nothing. Yeah. But so anyway, so if I did steal Kale's secrets, there's probably a decent chance I would just start talking about them because I forget. And then that's also I was thinking about why people probably don't like me because I probably said something about their college program or something like that that's semi controversial, and then they hold it against me. So listen, people, wrestling people of America, I don't hate any of you, right? I might not like the way some of you guys operate, but I don't hate you, so you don't need to hate me. Although I'm sure probably a lot of you still will. It's all
Yeah,
good.
one of the worst things, one of the worst phenomenons I've observed at this job is not that, because listen, most coaches are not listening to this show, very obviously. So what you have are
Yes.
the sycophant hangers-ons that want to say, hey, I text or I talk to this coach. And so then they
Yeah.
spin what is said and they're just feeding them the negative information and
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
half
yeah.
truths, quarter truths, not the full truth. And then
They bend what you
and these
say.
guys don't have time to freaking. Hopefully, they're not listening to FRL, and I think some do, but I think for the most part they don't. And so they get spun up on a narrative about me or Flo or this or that, and it's not even the case at all. And then you'll down the line, you'll end up having a conversation about it, be like, this is rooted in nothing remotely resembling fact, but because you've got the
Yeah.
your the lapdogs that surround these people that want to have proximity to a great coach or a great program, and as a way to show allegiance to them, they can
Yes.
say, hey, the media is saying this about you and Flo is hating us. It's like total fabrication, but they don't have time to fact check. So like, yeah, okay, and then you hear it enough and enough and enough, and then it becomes the reality. That's the one thing
Yeah.
I have observed actually numerous times here.
That's 100% true.
And then you have a conversation. It's like, okay, yeah, coach, none of this is even like close to happening. But then,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
No, that's definitely happened. A skewing of words, because that happens to me sometimes where people will say, "Oh, so and so said something about you," and then I'll look at it. I'm like, "Man, it's not very bad." Like, man, so
yeah.
what? You know, type of deals.
And it's a very paranoid culture, anyways.
Yes.
Wrestling people. I get it. I understand paranoia for
But are
sure.
all people like that? Because I don't know other people. You know who's not like that? Disc golf people are not like that. They're way different. They're all like cheering for each other. It's kind of actually weird to me a little bit.
Yeah,
How they all cheer for each other. But I assume a lot of other cultures are like really, uh, kind of the same way.
I don't know, man.
You don't think so?
I think it's pretty. I think wrestling attracts a very unique personality, and the people that make to the highest levels. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
I don't know. My opinion. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't think it's
Okay.
like jujitsu. I don't think is like that. Jiu-jitsu
Really?
is, yeah. I mean, not to the degree that I think wrestling is. Like people go and train with each other all the time. Like it's a lot more. This school will train with this school, and this it's different in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I feel
noticed
like
that.
jujitsu. I feel like the jujitsu community does have, um, for them. I mean, the one I feel like is big with them is they're like, you have to represent this
There is
team,
some of that
right?
for sure.
There's
Yeah, yeah,
definitely some of that. Yeah.
yeah.
I noticed that watching Who's Next. If people haven't watched it, it's great. It's a reality show on Flow Grappling. But a lot of the pre-fight interviews, they're like, "Man, this is like such a great guy, good friend. Sucks I got to fight him, but I got to, so I'm gonna go do it and I'm gonna beat him." But
Yeah.
that a lot of those interviews started with, "Man, this guy's great. This is a good friend, a good good buddy." And now I gotta I kind of don't want to, but I do want to fight him. Where I feel like in wrestling, there's like there's the respect thing. Like I respect my opponent, but you don't hear people really compliment
Yeah.
their opponent or I'm a friend of
I
them.
feel like maybe at the senior level that happens a little more because I think again it's get to know people, right? And so by the time they're on the senior level, they've maybe been on a team together at some point or a training camp, and they kind of know each other a little better. Where it's like,
Yeah.
especially when they're younger in college, it's definitely like divided. Like this is this team, this is this team, and I guess maybe it's becoming a little different with the cadet and junior and 15U. There's so many different world teams you could potentially make. So maybe, people are becoming more friendly. But definitely by the time they at senior level, they've all like kind of like interacted with each other on a more frequent basis.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to some questions. We have a few, not a ton. Okay, Wrestle Up 18 said, someone said to me that baseball has the biggest discrepancy between pros and college. Where would you put wrestling among other sports for this? Some ready for next level, fix Yanni Gable, and most couldn't keep a match competitive.
Well, wait, but hold on. Isn't that okay? This is my understanding of baseball. I'm not a baseball expert. Don't all the best people go straight from high school to pros, and that's why there's not a lot of the best in college? Isn't that what the case is?
I would say
I thought all the best guys get signed out of high school, like in the draft, and they don't even go to college.
A lot of them do, but a lot of the reason that guys do go to college is because they think they can move their position up in the draft. Like, so they'll get drafted in the 12th round, and then it's like, I think if I go play at some college, I can develop physically, and then maybe get drafted in the 2nd round or something.
But wouldn't that mean that all of the that would then mean that all of the highest draft picks, which obviously from a development standpoint, might not end up being the best, but at that moment in time, they are the best, right? None of those guys go because they get these big signing bonuses and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it definitely does pull a significant number of guys out of the pool for NCAA.
Yeah. So if you think of
also,
like if every year, Christian, you pulled the top, say 25 from the big board, and they didn't go to college and they only just went and trained at say the OTC or something, I think you would probably end up. And now again, there's people from below the top 25 that are going to move up into the top 25, and there's some from the top 25 who are not going to end up being that good, but there's obviously some from the top 25 who are already kind of like almost at that level, and then they're going to continue to excel probably. So I think you would see this gigantic gap between college and like international or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Looking at the, I just Googled an article in Bleacher Report. I'm assuming it's directionally accurate, but it said college or / JUCO represents 45.5% of the drafts, high school 34.7%, and international 19.8%. So most of the draft does come from college, but you've got to figure the elite of the elite are the high school kids drafted, kind of like what you were describing, Ben.
The other thing too that you said there is like JUCO is part of the college thing. So that if we're talking about like the NCAA compared to the pros, JUCO really does pull a bunch of guys out of the NCAA field as well. In baseball.
Yeah. Why is that?
I think there are a lot of guys
because they just want to do the 2 years and be done, right?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of guys that they get drafted. They're like, if I'm a pitcher and I can get my fastball like a couple miles an hour faster, or just develop this little thing, which I can do in a year or two for very little expense, then I'll move up in the draft, or
I know a rumor I heard back in the day from someone who had a friend was that the reason they went to JUCO for 2 years is because they didn't test in JUCO.
Oh snap!
Drug test.
Sounds
right?
about right.
That could be.
And that was what NCAA obviously they do. I don't know. I was thinking the NCAA doesn't test that well, but I saw there's a football player got popped the other day, which you don't see NCAA athletes get popped for anything all that much.
Yeah, it is pretty rare, I would say. So yeah, the discrepancy between the pros in wrestling and college is not
huge.
I don't think it's huge. And hold on, let me reread the question here if I can pull it. Basically said that where is it? I'm on the wrong.
I got it. Someone said to me that the baseball has the biggest discrepancy between pros and college. Where would you put wrestling among the other sports for this? Some ready for the next level, Yanni fixed Cable, and most that couldn't keep a match competitive.
I think a lot of college wrestlers could actually be competitive is relative, right? But I think there's a lot of college guys that can be competitive in freestyle matches with other senior level guys.
Well, yeah. The other thing, Christian, if you think about it, if you put together a 10 weights, best college team, right? And anyone who had eligibility like in graduating 2022 versus best senior level team, non-college athletes. That duel would be competitive.
Absolutely. Think about what that would be right now.
Well, you had Gable, you would have had Miles Amin, you would have had Yanni, you would have had Dayton,
Brooks.
RBY. Well, RBY had the same weight.
Soriano.
So, you'd have Soriano or Spencer. Yeah, that duel is competitive.
Absolutely. Very competitive.
Sure.
Yeah, so thinking about one of the things with wrestling is that we don't really get to find out because so few of the best college wrestlers move on into international wrestling, and it is a lot of good ones. But I mean, I'm looking at seniors from this year's rankings that that were like whatever top 5, top 10 that didn't compete on the senior circuit this year. Soriano, we didn't see him. DeAgostino was ranked, 5th at the end of the year. We didn't see. We have, but we didn't at the end. We didn't see RBY. We did, DeSanto we didn't see. Corbin Myers we didn't see. We saw Nick Lee. We didn't see Keyjon Clark. We didn't see Jaden this year. We've seen him, Jaden Ironman.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of guys that don't, because there's not that incentive. It's for a lot of these guys. It's not the next step. It's not worth it. We don't get to really find out, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. So the other thing I think this question kind of implies is, I said the number one team of college guys versus number one team of international level, but I think if we, the pros is depth also, right? Because there's 30 different teams. I think if you put the best college guys versus the number 2s or number 3s in America, I think the college guys would probably win. So obviously, in those number 2s and number 3s, you're pulling out every college wrestler.
Yes.
And going 2 or 3 from there.
I completely agree. I think the 2s or 3s would lose to the best college. I think the 2s or 3s for college there's a good chance they could beat the 2s or 3s for senior level or be very competitive.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Sam Cooper, what odds do you give Penn State's heavyweight Kirkfleet at winning NCAAs with and without Gable? Love watching the show, and I love the Virginia representation. And he says Northern Virginia is cool too, Piles. It's not. It's my brother lives in Northern Virginia, Stafford, but it's very, very different place. But you're right, Sam. It's cool. And to your question, well, with Gable, it's the next topic.
Yes.
Without Gable is where the question is interesting, and I will kick it to Ben first.
I would say not a large chance.
Really?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if I match him up against individuals, so if I match him against Colton Schultz, I don't think he's the favorite. So that's a less than 50% chance. Then he's probably also going to have to beat someone in the semifinals who, like Cassiope. I'll probably do that a coin flip, 50-50, right? So he's got to win that match too. So he's going to have to win definitely 2, but maybe, if he's the 3 or the 4, he'll probably have to win a really tough match in the semis also. In the quarters. So potentially 3 really tough matches. Yeah. So if you add the accumulation of those percentages together, you're going to get not a high percentage.
So, yeah, maybe you're right. We have kind of like the 3-way Spider-Man meme with Paris, Cassiope, and Kirkfleet, because Mason can't beat Kirkfleet, Cassiope can't beat Mason, and Kirkfleet has not yet beaten Tony, though he nearly did at Big Tens. So we have that dynamic, which makes it pretty draw dependent, and with Schultz in the mix, and you can't discount Lucas Davison next year, right? He's back, I believe,
and Wyatt Hendrickson.
Well, I mean, you bring up Wyatt Hendrickson, and I know it's kind of a joke.
Let's go,
here we
baby.
go.
No. Well, no, but here's the problem is like Zach Elam and Wyatt Hendrickson, they're gonna hit at Big 12s. One of those guys could have an undefeated season. I mean, who knows who they hit in duels? But like, if one of those guys ends up with an undefeated season, that's probably a 2 seed. If Schultz also has an undefeated season, so then all that Big 10 against Big 10 competition is going to make the seeding really weird. So I think it's going to be very hard for Kirkfleet to be. I mean, unless he just beats everybody to be seeded 2. So you get 3.
What about Nick Feldman?
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Did they wrestle him? Did they wrestle Orndorff is a question.
But there's so many Big 10 wrestlers after I mean, in that top 10, that there's probably going to be some carnage that's going to jack up the seating a little bit.
Carnage.
Yeah. Carnage.
Nebraska Carnage. That's where JD is right now.
That should be their intensive camp.
Yeah, Carnage.
The Nebraska Carnage intensive camp. Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
I like that.
Follow up from yesterday, Corey Kuzinski. We talked about Michigan. We had the 810 area code, which is a Michigan one, Ben. As FRL self-proclaimed Michigan wrestler area code expert, which he is, Corey has long been that for us. I thought I'd let you know Brent Metcalf is probably your best bet for 810. Kevin Jackson is 517. Ben Bennett 616. Casey Cunningham is 989. Although it was probably 517 when he was in high school. This guy knows a lot.
What date will we get the 989?
Good question. That'll be the Casey. What if we can get Casey Cunningham on that show? That would be quite a revelation. That'd be a big get.
Maybe a year away, because we do like what? I mean, 3 a week for 52 weeks is 156. So yeah, a little over. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back a year. And
it's a lot of shows.
Yeah, we do a lot of shows.
Probably don't do exactly 3 a week because there's probably a few weeks where we miss a show or two.
True.
So I think 150 is a pretty good guess for a year.
Yeah, let me see this show. 50.
This is what the people demand to know.
Well, this is old crap. So that was 824. I'm doing quick math here. Yeah, I think in less than a year, or around a little more than a year, we'll be at it.
That'd be great.
Oh yeah,
great.
Hey, we didn't even mention today's show 811. That's call before you dig.
What's that?
That's the number you call before you dig.
Oh yeah,
it's 811.
What is?
That way you don't hit a gas pipe or something.
811.
Tomorrow? Wait, I thought we were on 810. Oh, you guys changed the show notes.
Yeah, 810 was yesterday.
Today's 811. Call before you dig. I feel like that's a policy, Ben, that you do not follow.
Do you call before you dig?
Dig what? What am I digging?
Dude, you're digging.
You're digging out there.
You're digging all day.
So listen, if it's a serious project, my wife's probably in charge of it. Like, say she wanted to. Oh, we got a coyote problem. We didn't even talk about that, Christian.
We did Tuesday.
Oh, we did on Tuesday. You're right. I was thinking it was Tuesday.
You want me to send my cousins up to kill them?
Yes, I do. So if it's a serious project, like saying taking water or electricity up by the chicken coop, that would be like her domain, right? If it's like I'm digging disc golf baskets or something like that, I ain't calling no damn 811 for a disc golf basket. Get lost.
Yeah. Well, if you hit a gas line,
I'll take my chances.
One of our former coworkers cut a fiber a Google fiber line, but that was just like.
And what happened?
The whole neighborhood had no internet.
I mean, the person.
They'd be so mad at him.
Or her. And it's yeah, that was hilarious. Well, I don't know why. She just saw the cord. She's like, I saw the cord, so I just cut it. Like cut the internet for the entire neighborhood. Don't understand that one.
That's too funny.
But it's very funny.
811, man. That's great. No area code. Call before you dig, though.
Call before you dig.
Good
We're doing
PSA.
that. Mm-hmm. We're putting in some exercise. We got rid of our Skyfort thing. And
it's time to retire it.
It's gone. Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Like the little. You probably have something like a treehouse town at Askren Funky Farms, but. Just the little Home Depot jobbers with like a little sky. You go up with the slide and it has the swings on it.
Oh yeah, got it.
So we got rid of ours and we're gonna put up like a monkey bar pull up rope climbing thing in our backyard. But anyways, we called before we dug and we're in the clear.
That's good.
So coming soon. But yeah, that's a great reminder to be careful. Okay, I think we did the show. I think this is good. Ben.
Oh yeah. I had so much fun. I'm on a go week. And we got the 4th of July coming this week.
Oh, man.
Listen, for most of us great Americans who love this country and the freedoms we have, and I do appreciate the freedoms we have, and I will not forget that, and I will not take that for granted, although some people do. I'm going to celebrate the damn 4th of July, and I'm going to have a good time doing it. I hope you guys do the same.
I have similar plans. Bray, are you in?
I'm done. Let's party.
Let's party.
Let's do it.
Happy 4th of July. We're going up to Ben's. We're going to kill some coyotes in the name of freedom.
Listen, if you guys want to hop on a plane or hop in a Piles Brave family van, drive your ass up to Wisconsin with some guns, shoot some coyotes, I think we would have the best time ever.
We probably would have a great time. Probably have to take a rain check for this for this holiday, but that would be a good time. Ben, thanks for coming back. Bray, thanks for hopping in.
Week.
And thank you especially for listening. This was great. Enjoy it as always, and we will see you next Tuesday.